For this next videos, this is chapter 5, um, reading floor plans, but now more specifically on electrical plans, plumbing plans, and HVAC plans. The electrical, how you put the wiring, from where you're going to turn on, which switches, um, where do you want your outlets, what type of outlets should they be, what type of light fixtures you want. All that information goes on the electrical plan. Keep in mind that you're, as a designer, you have to think of uh, the final product, meaning not just draw walls, but uh, and yeah, not just walls, but you have to think about not just walls and doors and windows, but also how's the aesthetic of the house or the building, how's it going to look. And for that, you have to think about, you have to think about um, the type of lighting, and with the type of lighting that the lighting that you're gonna put, how is it gonna look? For example, let me show you a picture and bring this in. See, the lighting plays an effect on your design. Depends on the lights you use, is gonna give you a feel. So it's a design element. Lighting too. For example, just by the lighting they're using, they're creating this atmosphere by using those lights. By the lighting, one of the kind of, then this one is a good one too. By the type of light fixtures they're using, it creates this environment, this look, or the way that it lights up. And aesthetically, you have to think of those things. For example, now this one. See, where you're gonna put those lights so you can achieve this view on the outside in this case, right? Where do you put your lighting so you achieve this? Where you put your lighting, so on and so forth. So I think you get what I'm trying to say. So it's not just doors, walls, and windows, but also the lighting plays a good effect. If you have a great design, but then the lighting positioning or the type of light fixtures you're using, they don't go with the design, then it's gonna clash. See, if you want to get this type of a feel in the house, well, you have to know where you're gonna place those lights or those type of lighting to create that atmosphere. See, some more examples here. See how that shines there, that reflection or that shadow, that light up here, this right here. So it's part of the design. See, lighting there, light here, everything reflects. So for that purpose, you need to know how to do an electrical plan, or how to read it first, and then when you get to design it, of course, how to do it. So going back to the chapter, chapter 5, but electrical plans. Just we're gonna do electrical today, or for this video, and then we'll do plumbing next video, and then HVAC the last one. Electrical plans. They could be, if the floor plan is simple, sometimes you'll see the electrical plan on the floor plan. In other words, you'll see the doors, the windows, the walls, and room names, dimensions. And if it's a simple floor plan, sometimes they'll put the electrical there too. And I'll show you an example of an electrical plan. But if it's too complex, or the house too complex, or the big building is too complex, then you want to put in a separate sheet. Okay, where you display where the walls are, doors, and windows, just like the more important information, and then you start laying out where you want your switches, your outlets, what type of lighting, and so on and so forth. Okay, so again, it could be that you have the electrical plan or electrical work could be on the actual floor plan, or you could put it on a separate one. If it's a little more complex, you might want to do it on a separate one. Temporary rough-in and finish. Temporary, when they start construction, they're gonna, of course, connect somehow to a post that is there just to bring electricity so they can start working on the house. Rough-in is when they start. Let me show you a picture. Rough-in is something like when they're putting all the electrical wiring to the frame. So this is the skeleton of the house or building, and they come in here and they start wiring the house. That's a rough-in. Okay, they start wiring everything before they close it. So the electrician is going to go there, connect so they can bring electricity so they can start working. And then the frame is going to come, frame the whole thing. And then when it's framed, the electrician is going to come back and put everything here, or the roughing. And then the one that does the finish is going to come back, put the sheetrock, paint, and all that, tile. And then the electrician is going to come back and put all the switches, the light fixtures, the light, make sure it connects, and so on and so forth. So he's going to be there. He's going to be in and out. But this is a roughing. Okay, so now you see how they wire it. Okay, and then the finish, which of course is what I showed you, which is the finished product of how it looks. For example, let's say, again, it's not the same house, but then the finish will be, once they put everything, they come and actually put, once everything's closed, everything's nice, they come and start putting all the lights and the switches and the covers for the outlets and so on and so forth. All right, so that's what it's talking here: the 3-phase electrical installation, temporary, rough-in, and finish. This right here, they're in your book. I'm not gonna go through all of them because we're not gonna go in depth and talk about like electrical work. Again, it's a basic class, so it's more of how to read it. More than anything, that's what I want you guys to understand. But there's some stuff from here. Read on the book. It goes one by one. What is it? What with the description or definition of what this is. You can do that on your own. I don't want to spend too much time. But I'm still gonna go over some of these when we start seeing the plans. And here's an example of it. This is how you laid out a electrical plan. Let me see if I can zoom in. Okay, again, this is blueprint reading and sketching. So remember, blueprint is a language, so each one of these symbols and lines represents something. So an electrical plan, you'll see it like this, with symbols and lines going through. Okay, now for every electrical plan that you have, you're gonna have to have a legend, an electrical legend, which is you're gonna have the actual symbol, right? What it is and the symbol of that. For example, this one, it's 110 convenience outlet, GFI. Again, when you read on that, you see what it is. In GFI, you want to put those like next to the kitchen, next to where there might be some water, like in kitchens and in garages, outside. Where else? In the restrooms, you want to put them GFI. You have seen them. I'm sure you go home and you go to the kitchen or the restrooms or outside, and those type of outlets, they're GFI, and you'll see visually the difference. And of course, you're gonna read on it in the book. Waterproof, of course, you want to put those back and on the outside, and those are capped, so water won't go in there. So for every electrical plan, you're gonna have symbols, and with a symbol on the legend, with a symbol, it tells you an explanation of what it is. So when you start laying it out and putting those light fixtures and outlets, whoever's reading that, they'll know exactly what you're talking about. Okay, but you have to provide the legend. For example, on this one, let me see if I can get. Let me see. Close this. There we go. Bring this in. Let me see. Okay, here's a little bit bigger for you to see. See, this is a legend symbol, and then what is it that it is? So whenever you see this in a plan, you know, if you see this with a D, electric door opener, you know what it is. If you see this, that's a chime. If you see this, that's a clock, and so on and so forth. So every single symbol means something. Okay, so these are the ones you're gonna see in the plan. And again, you can go look at those. Is there a plan somewhere here? There we go. So for example, we have here a section of it seems like a red bedroom and hallway and restroom, and then here I guess it's another one. So this is what you're gonna see. These symbols, and we'll look at them. Look at the symbol, look at that symbol, look at that symbol, and look at that symbol. Right? And here again, here are the GFIs. Here GF5 WP, which is going to be waterproof, GF5 and waterproof. This right here. So if we go back and look at those symbols that we just saw, we saw this one. Okay, so what that is, it's a duplex convention outlet, wall outlet. So it's like a regular just outlet that they want on those rooms. We saw, what else do we see? We saw GFI. We saw WP, which is waterproof, or weatherproof, I'm sorry, weatherproof outlet. And those again, you saw it on the outside. What else did we see? We saw these right here, which are the switches, single pole switch. And again, this might not be the legend for the one we're looking at. And then we saw these ceiling mountain lights. We saw that one right there. Okay, so now by seeing the symbol, we know what is it that they want on those rooms. Okay, if I go back, see, here's a light. We saw it. Here are the outlets. Right there, right there, right there. On the outside, we have a GFI weatherproof. We have a light on the outside, and this is wall mounted. This is ceiling mounted. This is wall mounted, and I'll talk about this in a bit. Here we have another outlet. You have a light there. It's probably a different type of light. If you see the difference between this one and this one, this is probably recessed, maybe. Again, we have to look at the legend. I don't think we have it here. No. Here we have the symbol here. I think we saw that one there too. Where is it? I saw it somewhere, but it's a fan. Maybe it looks like this one, but it's probably another one. Here it is. That's a light fan combination. So so you have to look at it. What is it that it represents? So in this case, in the restroom, they want a heat, light, and fan combination. So you're gonna have all those three in one. So by looking at the legend, you know exactly what they want. So when you're looking at it, you say they have a light there, outlets there. Again, here, like I said, GFI, you have a sink. You want to put it right there in case water gets into it. It will cut it. So there's to prevent any accidents. There's a light here. Seems like it's see how it looks similar to this one, and this one is probably like a vanity light, which is mounted on the wall. So this is the symbol for light fixtures mounted on the wall. And then here is the smoke detector. There's a symbol. Okay, now the switches. The switches that you see where you turn on and off your lights, they're gonna be drawn like this, like an S with a line going through it. Okay, so these are the switches. So we have a switch here, and then this hidden line that you see there, dash line, is gonna go from the switch to the light that is gonna turn on and off. So you're gonna walk into this room. To the right, there's a switch. It turns on this light. There's a light on the outside, but it's gonna be turned on and off from inside of this room. For that light, you turn on and off here. Actually, well, that's a sliding door. I don't know what this is. It's probably I don't know. That's weird. Okay. For this right here, you have it'll turn on. Oops, I guess I forgot here. It's gonna turn on from the switch. For the fan, also is gonna have its own switch. Okay, now it depends on how you draw it. It's how it's gonna work. If you have one switch and it goes to the fan and to the light. Actually, here is both. I'm sorry. Yes, it's all together. So for this right here, it's a fan, heater, and light is gonna be from this switch. So when they turn on this switch, all these three are gonna turn on. Okay, so keep that in mind. For example, what I'm trying to say is is there one here? No. If you have a fan, let's say you have a fan with lights, and again, a lot of us have that in our let's say here, in our rooms, we have a fan, and that fan has lights. If you only have put it with one switch, it means that when you turn on this switch, the fan and the light is gonna turn on. Then you have to go in there and manually turn on and off the lights. But you can also put two switches for the same fan and light. So one switch controls the light, the other switch controls the fan. So again, this is you designing the way you want for it to work. Let me see if there's a fan here. I don't see one. But again, it depends. Everything's on the, or it might be here, but I can't see. It's probably drawn in a different symbol. Okay, so basically that's what it is. Now, when you're designing, you have to know what is it that you are. Oh, here you go. What is it that you are? How you want to control those switches? Where do you want to put them? And you as a designer, you have to know where are you going to put them. You actually, well, by common sense, you want to put them close to when you enter for the lights. You want to open the door and they have easy access to those switches. Um, and then from what switch, what is it that you want to control? You have to think of those things. And then the actual light fixture you're going to put, do you want them on the wall? You want them on the ceiling? Um, how many do you need? Because you put too little. If you have a long hallway and you put like two lights, it might be too dark. If you put six lights, it will be way too bright, and you're gonna lose money in putting them and also on the electricity. So you have to gauge it. How much? What do I need? And again, this goes back, you as a designer. You're designing spaces that need light in this case. So you have to think about those things. Don't just go in there and start throwing um, symbols and lights everywhere. Do you really need them? That's the whole point. Again, here goes back to the switches. So from one switch, you can control several lights, which I'm pretty sure in your house you can do that too. Now, these right here, they have a 3. These are called 3-way switches, right? I think just probably in your house you have some of these too, where you have 2 switches in different areas of the house or the room, and it turns on and off the same light or same lights. It could be several. So sometimes these are good to have like in living rooms or in long hallways. You can have one switch on one end of the hallway and then another one on the other end, and both of them can turn on and off the lights in the middle, because you don't want to go all the way to the end of the hallway, turn on the light, or go to the bedroom and then forget you forgot and you have to go all the way to the end of the hallway to turn them off. You might want to have 2 switches. And these are very practical, like in kitchens, even in living rooms. They're very practical. You can turn them on and off from different areas. And again, those have a 3. I guess all this that I'm telling you, when you read the chapter, you'll find out. And then 4-way switches, same thing. You have a light fixture or different lights where you can turn on from different switches. All right. This one here looks a little bit different. If you want the switch to turn on the electricity to an outlet, you can do it like this. For example, you have a lamp, it's connected to that outlet, or that's the way you want to design it, and you don't want to go to the lamp and just get the little thing and clean it out. You can have it with a switch. So by the time you turn this switch, it's going to turn off the electricity going to that outlet. Now we have it like this in our church. We did it. We have our equipment on top on the stage, and actually not the equipment on the stage. The speakers, they're on each side of the church, and they're hidden. We designed it so it could be hidden, but they're in the way in the back. Our sound room is they're in the front, of course, the speakers. The sound room is in the back, and in the sound room, we put this type of system. So wherever the speakers are connected in the front, in the back, we can turn them on and off with a switch. So we don't have to go to the front and turn the speakers on. We just from our sound room, there's 2 switches. We flick them up, and the system is on. So again, you have to think of these things when you're designing to make it more convenient. Again, here more samples here on a kitchen, and again, everything represents all these represent an actual fixture in the electro plan. Right here, you have some more. You have some switches here. You look at it, and this one, you walk into this house. The switches are on the left. There's a switch that turns on this light here, that light on the garage, one side of the garage, and the other light of the garage. So these ceiling lights tell you what is it that you're gonna turn on and off. And those of you taking my basic AutoCAD class, when we did spline, I mentioned that you might need it for the electrical. This is what I meant. You get a very more natural flow of line with a spline. So this switch controls those, and you don't have any three-way switches. It's just that switch. Now this one here, this switch turns on this light. Now why a three-way switch? I don't know. Should I have this? Should have be connecting somewhere else? But I don't know. And then this switch here goes and turns on this light, and then you can turn it off from this switch. So you walk in, turn it on. You walk over here towards I guess it's like a family room or dining. It's probably a dining room. You can come over here and then turn it off from here. So you have to come all the way over here and turn it off. So that's the beauty of a three-way switch. This right here turns on the light for the stairs, and also on top you have another one. Or is it? It's up. Yeah, I think you have two though. I think this probably has a basement and yeah, it has a basement and second floor. So from here you go up to the second floor. From the back you go down to the basement. So here you have a three-way switch. More than likely there's another one at the bottom. Same thing here. This has a switch here to turn on the light on the staircase, and probably on the second floor there's another switch. And again, those are very helpful. Imagine you only have one switch. You turn on for the staircase for it to have light, and then you get to the second floor, you forgot to turn it off. You have to walk all the way down and turn it off. So it's a very good example of where you can put three-way switches. Turn on here, and then you get to the second floor and you can turn it off. Here you have another switch. It turns, like in this case, it turns on and off this outlets. See, there's no light here. This switch turns on and off these outlets. So maybe they probably kind of have lamps there or some sort of, I don't know, system that they want just to have a switch and get both of them going at the same time. And then it turns over here. You have a one here to turn on that light. You have another one to turn on a light here, I'm guessing. You have a restroom or a powder room. You have a switch to turn on the vanity, another switch to turn the light and the fan. See, LF? And they're together in one switch. So here you have two switches. Here you have GFI, like we mentioned before. Again, three-way switch here for that light. Switch here for that one. Outlets. Switch here to turn on the light outside. You have an outlet outside, waterproof GFI, light fixture. An outlet right there, and the kitchen. But you can see, I mean, you can I don't have to go through all of them, but you can see you have to actually tell what is it that you want. Again, as a designer, you have to think how am I designing the electrical plan? What is it that I need? What do I have to power? What appliances am I gonna have? And now with this in mind, you have to think also you're designing spaces. So for example, you're doing a room, you have to think, am I giving enough outlets to provide the homeowner, or if it's you, to be able to shift stuff around? Because if you only put one outlet, then that means if you're going to have a TV in your house, it has to be on that wall. That's it. Because you only have it here, unless you want to have a cord going all the way to another side. So you have to think of those things. Where do I can leave power for things that they might need? And I've seen houses, especially old houses, where they have like maybe, let's say this is the house, and all this is carpet, let's say, right? And I've seen like old homes, and they only have like one or two outlets, maybe one here, one over here. And I remember this because I remember this house when I was a little, when I was younger. And they needed to vacuum the carpet, so it was hard to they only had two outlets. So they had to get extensions so that they can vacuum the whole thing. So these are things that you have to think about. You're designing, you have to think about the use of the house. And again, I'm gonna bore you with this, but you're not just drawing lines. You're designing spaces that somebody's gonna need and somebody's gonna use. So you have to think of those things. Okay. So with that, again, if you look at the legend, it will tell you what these are, and with that you know exactly what that is. What is that? And now we already talked about the switches, and then some of them have some lights here, or some notes. 6x4 recessed light soffit with blah 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 fluorescent lights, fixtures. So they're gonna actually build this on the ceiling, and they put the lights there. Okay, so all these garbage disposal, ceiling door opener, They're providing those for the ceiling for the two. Since you have two doors, so with this one you're gonna turn on one, and this one the other one. Okay, and then you have some lights there too, a light there, GFI there. So again, you're as a designer, you have to design the electrical plan. Okay, well first you have to know what does it mean so you can read it. But when you're designing, you have to tell the contractor. You're the designer. You're telling the contractor, I want you to put me this lights in this position, and I want them to turn on from this switch. I want outlets here, 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 this type of outlets. I want in the kitchen, I want the GFI here. I want a switch for the garbage disposal, a separate switch. I want a separate switch for a light that I want for it to be under the base cabinet, which is something I have in my house. You have to design it. Okay, you have to design it. Tell the contractor what is it that you want. All right, what does it have here? Again, I think this is in the book. And again, this is the way you're gonna lay it out, or you draw it. You can have your legend with everything, the symbols you're gonna be seeing in the plan. So again, what is that? They come here and they look at it, and that's a light, heater, and fan. Right there, so they know what it is, or they're confused. Okay, what is what is that little circle with a line? Okay, we'll go to look for the circle, and here you go, a ceiling mounted light fixture. That's what it is. Now the fixture itself, the owner has to design, or you have to go and tell them which type of fixture you want. But they know they have to provide, when they do the roughing, they have to have the electrical ready for the fixture to be put on. Okay, so here you have to think about or tell them exactly what fixture you want. For the roughing, they just want to know where they need to wire, have it ready, and then the actual fixture, you can tell them later on which the exact fixture that you want for the look that you want. Okay. All right, and then here more information. But basically, yeah, I think the next one is plumbing. And again, electrical is not difficult because all of us have used electricity. All of us, everywhere, you know what a switch is, you know where the lights are, you know where the outlets are, you know where the GFIs are, because all of this we have it in our homes or wherever we live throughout our lives, even in school. So the concept shouldn't be hard for you to grasp. Okay, as a designer, you have to know what fixtures do I want, what lights do I want, what outlets do I want, the type of outlets that I need, the switches that I need to turn on and off, or three-way or four-way. Do I want a switch to turn on a light, or do I want a switch to turn on and off an outlet for whatever reason? So all those things you have to think about and then put them into a drawing. Okay, and again, they're gonna look like this. Well, actually, yeah, like this, where you have the plan, right? And then on top of that, you can have all your symbols and how they connect. And of course, for that, you need to provide a legend. Now, let me show you this, and then I'll finish. I'm sorry, I talk too much. I hope you guys are watching these videos because I'm taking a lot of time doing them. And there's not only because of that, but it's important information you need to know. This is an electrical plan that I have from I didn't design this. Somebody else designed it, and they just gave me the copy so I can show it to you guys or to my students. Sometimes you're going to have reflective ceiling plans. This is a reflective ceiling plan right here. Okay, and on this one it shows everything on the ceiling. So it's going to show the lights they're going to need. So this one here, they're going to have 2x4 fluorescent lights as selected by owner, flush, mounted as per manufacturer recommendation. So each one of this is an office, this are restrooms, this is like a lounge, mechanical room, hallway, storage, and classroom. So whoever designed this is telling you this is where I want the lights, and this is how I want for them to connect. So from here, well, here we got to put the 3 here. I'm going to turn all the lights, actually half of them. Actually, I know he did it right. They're not two-way switches. It's only one switch. So from this switch, he's going to turn on these 4 lights and these 2. So half of them. And then from this switch, he's going to turn this 4 and this 2. Okay, so he's going to turn on, he could turn on half of the lights. Why? Maybe he has a projector on this side. Or maybe he has 2 projectors. So he wants to from this switch turn off and have this light off. That way they can see this projector maybe here, or maybe from this one turn on and off these. It's darker here. He can see this here, this projector, and we have it on a classroom. We have it on a classroom. When I show you something on the projector, there's two switches. I have to turn one off because they will turn off the light that is right in front of the screen, so you guys can view it easier. Whoever designed it, they designed it with that in mind. Here to turn that light, those lights. But here they went as far as also putting some HVAC. Again, this is a reflective ceiling plan, so anything that's going to be on the ceiling, they show it here. And they have the vents, and I think that's all they have. They're showing vents, and then I think so. So here it's a reflective ceiling plan, and then in this case they did a reflective ceiling plan and they did an electrical plan. On the electrical plan, they didn't put the lights. They just put the outlets where they want the outlets. Any ports, small detector, they have it right there, and again the legend is right here. Okay, right there. So you know, for example, what's S? We come here, security system contacts. That's what a S is. Data. Okay, what's data? Data outlet. So for the computers, he wants an outlet here, and then he wants outlets there, and there. Small detector right there. TV outlet. I think that's telephone, if I'm not mistaken, or something like that. Let's see. Yeah, telephone outlet right there. So again, if you don't know what it is, just go look for a legend and it will tell you what it is. Okay. So in this case, this is electrical plan. This one has the reflective ceiling plan, which shows the light fixtures and the switches, and the electrical just shows all the electrical, like outlets, switch, small detectors, data ports, so on and so forth. Okay, so you as a designer, you have to think of these things. Now notice here where it says data, they have like these boxes. Actually, these are here. Data and outlet, data and outlet, data and outlet, data and outlet. And if we come here, it says floor mounted data outlets and electrical outlets. So that means that these here, they're going to be at the floor. And you've seen them here in class and in the classroom. You look at the floor, there's some outlets there. And then these right here, that one, those two, I think they're two. They have data outlet and TV. Those are ceiling mounted electrical and television electrical data outlets. So these are going to be in the ceiling. So again, you have a symbol and then you have an explanation of what it is. If you don't have these, then where do you put them? Are they on the floor? Are they on top of the desk? Where are they? So you have to explain. Okay. I went overboard showing you stuff, but I think it's necessary. Read the first section. It goes more in depth. Or I try to cover as much as I can. If we have time, which one night if we have time, I'm going to cover again and go over it slightly during class. But and next we do plumbing and then HVAC. On those, I don't think I'll spend too much time on the plumbing and the electric and the HVAC.